Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Astro Consciousness channel. I'm Millie, and I am here to give you your forecast for the week of October 13th through the 19th. In this channel, we talk about the astrological energy of the week ahead and how you can integrate it into your personal and spiritual growth. So, the week ahead is another week that invites us to take action, another week that comes with, I would say, a lot of loudness. I think more ideas, more willingness to express, more news that perhaps comes from out of nowhere. But before I begin the week, I want to touch on something that I think is really important. October thus far has not necessarily been the easiest. I think October thus far has confronted us with a lot of things that we didn't know, unexpected news. Um, but I think that it has also pushed us out of our comfort zone and finally gotten us to a point with certain things in our lives where we're just saying, you know what, F it. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the risk. I'm going to ask. I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to bring myself out of my comfort zone. And so here we have, and I'm speaking strictly about Mercury in Scorpio squaring Pluto in Aquarius, and then Mars in Scorpio squaring Pluto in Aquarius. Those are energies that have been active from the beginning of October and through that first week of October, through that second week of October. This is important because those energies have brought to the forefront of our awareness a level of honesty that we cannot ignore. We cannot ignore what the last 2 weeks have been showing us with all honesty, for better or worse. I think, like I said, for some people, it has been the catalyst. I know for me, it has. It has been the catalyst to say, you know what? I've got to do something. I've got to take action. I've got to do something a little different. And having the courage to say, whatever happens, happens. I surrender. The end result is not up to me, but I feel this in my heart. Getting these intuitive hits and being like, I'm going to move. I'm not sure where this is going, but I'm going to move in faith. On the other hand, what I have also noticed is a lot of confrontations amongst people, um, difficult conversations, outbursts, rage coming through. Look, at this point, and can I remind you that we are still in eclipse season? Eclipse season is not over until we have the new moon in Libra. Okay? I'm just saying. We have to surrender to the level of honesty that the last 2 weeks have shown us, and we have to accept these truths for what they are. Because Scorpio doesn't mess around. Scorpio energy doesn't mess around. And here's the thing, Mercury in Scorpio, Mars in Scorpio, giving us a glimpse into what's coming in Scorpio season. Okay. Why does this matter? Because we move into Monday, October 13th, and the first thing that happens is that Venus moves into the sign of Libra. Okay. Venus in Libra is going to remain in Libra till November 6th. It's lovely. It's at home. It wants to make things work. It wants to bring harmony. It wants to bring equilibrium. It wants to try something new in relationships, in money, in communication, in socializing. It wants to try something new. And here's why. Because that Venus in Libra, the first thing that it's going to do that Monday, October 13th, and Tuesday, October 14th, is that it's going to create a grand air trine to Uranus and Gemini and Pluto in Aquarius. That is a powerful grand air trine. Powerful grand air trine, so much possibility. So let's say that Venus in Libra is an invitation for you to, again, come out of your comfort zone and socialize with other people, be in different types of groups. And you're saying, okay, I'm here. I'm not used to this, but I'm putting myself out there, whether this is online, whether this is in person. Let's say that this has to do with relationships. Okay. Venus in Libra with this grandeur trine. A few things. One, if both people are on the same page, because this is important, both people have to be on the same page. Venus and Libra, there has to be an equilibrium. There has to be at least some harmony of we are on the same page. We don't necessarily approach life in the same way, but we are on the same page of the intention and genuinely moving in that direction. This grand air trine is so supportive in breakthroughs, in we're going to try this thing because the potential of us moving past this phase of our relationship is there, okay? On the other hand, if there is no equilibrium, if there is no harmony, if the intentions of people in relationships is not the same, and I'm not talking about having a conversation and just like lip service. Yes, yes, I'm on the same page with you. I'm on the same page with you. No, not lip service. I mean, in the soul, intentionally, both people want the same thing for that dynamic. If that's not the case, this is going to be really hard. That Uranus and Gemini and Pluto and Aquarius represent the new world, the new life, the new chapter, 2026 and on. And so, what's going to happen is that this week is really going to show, once again, because the universe is so generous, this is not the first time that the universe shows us this. Whether this is something you want to take with you into the new world, into the new chapter, into 2026 or not. Because even though Venus in Libra enters a grand air trine, there's a discomfort there. Like this, Venus in Libra is entering brand new territory with Pluto in Aquarius and Uranus in Gemini. And these are not light energies. These are very strong energies. These are very potent. These are very unknown energies that are making their presence known. So this is one of those scenarios where I've talked about this before somewhere on social media. The thought of innovation, of breakthrough, of something new in our lives is always very exciting, the thought of it. But what it actually requires for us to step into a new chapter of our lives that we know in some way, shape, or form is going to be better for us, that requires something to dismantle. That requires something to fall away. And I'll get into that as I move through the week because there is also that energy. So, this Venus in Libra, and another thing that Venus in Libra is going to do that Monday and Tuesday is that it's going to create an opposition to Neptune. On the one hand, all of that configuration creates a kite. Now, a kite in the zodiac is an aspect or is a configuration that can bring a lot of luck, that can bring a lot of good fortune, that can bring a lot of opportunity, a lot of growth, a lot of expansion. It is truly a lovely, one of the lovelier configurations in the zodiac. But here's the thing. Growth will always expand you. Growth will always expand your nervous system beyond where your nervous system is now. And you will have to feel into that growth, into that expansion of the nervous system, and be willing to say, whoa, this is really new. If I step into this, I'm really stepping into something really different. I'm really stepping into growth, and I really have to commit to it. I think that overall, this is such a beautiful invitation for all of us, but you have to be willing to step into the growth. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. We can have, a kite week after week. But if you're not choosing growth, then that growth is going to come in different ways. Okay. All right. So, like I said, that configuration takes up most of Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday, October 15th, we have Mars in Scorpio create a trine to the North Node in Pisces. Mars in Scorpio is the understanding that in order for me to move forward, I need to let go of something, North Node in Pisces. The understanding that in order for me to move ahead, I need to let go of something. Something needs to come to an end. North Node in Pisces. Again, I don't think that any of the things that are going to come up for us this week are necessarily new. They're not. I think September and the first week and a half of October have made it so clear, so clear. This is just the universe continuing to bring forth circumstances, conversations, thoughts, dreams, all of the things, letting you know this needs to end, this needs to end, this needs to end. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Sometimes the universe can feel a little annoying. Okay. All right. Thursday, October 16th. And from October 16th through the 18th, we have the moon transiting the sign of Virgo. Can you believe that it's been a lunar month already since the solar eclipse in Virgo of September 21st? So fast. And I'm sure that so many things have transpired from then to now. And that's the point of paying attention to when the moon comes back is the month after a significant lunar event like the solar eclipse. Okay. So this is a week to ask yourself, it's been a month. How has my life changed? What are the truths that are being shown to me? Where do I need to let go? Where do I need to surrender to this control that I think that I have over a situation or an outcome of something, right? On the other hand, I think it's also very inspiring to a lot of people to say, wow, I've moved through that. I got out of that. Now I'm here versus where I was a month ago. Really take the time to do that. I always find it fascinating a month before an eclipse and a month after an eclipse to just take note of just how much things change. Okay, Friday, October 17th, we have the Sun in Libra square Jupiter in Cancer. Okay, anytime we have any kind of connection with Jupiter, there tends to be an amplification of something, perhaps an exaggeration, especially via a square, which is an aspect or an angle of 90 degrees. So here we have the Sun, which is the most luminous planetary body, right, in the zodiac, squaring Jupiter. Squaring uh, Jupiter will always make something that is big bigger, okay? Expect and maybe perhaps be prepared for perhaps obnoxious behavior from certain people, reactivity, but also a lot of joy, also the potential for a lot of party, a lot of desire to be in people who are positive and in good spirits. The thing between the Sun squaring Jupiter is that it has a tendency for overindulgence and for overdoing. So be mindful of that. Okay. Now, when we go a little deeper with that, the Sun is in Libra, highlighting relationships. The square to Jupiter in Cancer can bring forth the understanding if you're moving through certain things in relationships of how much this dynamic or if you're experiencing a pain um, has to do with something deeply rooted for yourself or for the other person that comes from family, that comes from lineage, that comes from trauma, and how all of that is reflecting itself in the dynamic, in the relationship, right? Look, one of the things that I've been saying is you have to surrender to the honesty that is being, to the truths that are being brought to the forefront of your awareness. You have to. And instead of trying to go into fix it mode, well, let's fix it. How can we fix it? What do we need to do? And being mindful that it's not coming from a controlling place is what do I need to accept right now? What is the truth that no matter if it hurts, that I have to really surrender to right now? And that not only is a different question, but it's a much better question because Eclipse seasons are a time where the ego takes a step back and we let the higher self take the wheel. But in order for that to happen, we first have to surrender, thinking that we know it all, thinking that we know the answer. And the potential for that to happen is definitely there with a Sun square Jupiter. The know-it-all, the loud one, the I know everything, I'm never wrong, this really pompous attitude um, that is just doesn't get anybody anywhere. Okay, so then we move into the weekend, which is good because my voice is already giving out. Saturday, October 18th and Sunday, October 19th, we have a Mars Mercury conjunction in the sign of Scorpio, which I talked about in the beginning of the video and talked about how those two planets have already been giving us information since the beginning of October, and they come to a conjunction. When Mercury and Mars comes together, we either get news that are really impactful, and in Scorpio, they're a little dark. In Scorpio, it can possibly mean like something has ended, right? Mars, Mars together with Mercury is can be very aggressive, can be very reactive. And in Scorpio, it's very to the point. It's pushing your buttons. It's getting down to your psyche. And here's the thing. Mercury, Mars, together in the sign of Scorpio, are creating a trine, a connection to the North Node in Pisces. Here's a few ways that this can manifest, and not just over the weekend, but throughout the week leading up to the weekend. One, you receive news that means that something has ended and that leaves free room for something else to start for you, right? I think that we can expect a week of kind of like shocking news in the collective. We'll see what comes of that. A final understanding within ourselves that says this has to end. I'm willing to let it go, and I'm taking action in the direction that I know that makes the most sense to me and that is the most mature thing for me to do from this point on. Another thing that this can do is that it can actually, especially a Mercury Mars connection. Mars is the fighter, Mars is the aggressor, Mercury is the talk, the communication, right? In Scorpio, this can actually lend itself for a very heated conversation, argument with someone else that actually leads to the ending of that dynamic because of the trine to the North Node in Pisces. But here's also the thing. The trine to the North Node in Pisces represents an ending, and it represents that that's probably the best thing for anyone involved in that type of interaction, if that's what you experience. Look, the cosmos is just being so clear right now, is being so clear. How are you moving forward with this clarity? Drop the illusion. Be responsible for how your future moves. Trust, have faith. That may include certain endings. Continue to include certain endings. That's okay. Believe me, that's okay. Everyone is on their own journey. Everyone will continue on their own journey. I know that certain things feel hard. The universe will not let you continue in certain dynamics and certain environments with certain belief systems or thoughts that are not meant for your path on this earth. Surrender. If you think you have to make a decision and the pressure of that decision feels like it's too much, hold off on the decision, but stop denying what the universe is showing you. Surrender to the truth of what the universe is showing you because I guarantee you that it's been very, very clear. Okay? So much love to you all. May this be of service. I will see you next week. Take care.